Vanakkam, Namaste, and blessings to everyone. This is Dr. Bhairavi Balasubramanian, PhD, the Sky Priestess. As promised, here's the astro overview for the last week of August 2019. Now, if you were to refer to the last video you received, you basically got a very in-depth account helping you understand just what Leo is up to throughout the month of August and some more problematic aspects that have arisen. Now, as you know, I'm not the type of astrologer to mince words, and I said things were going to be pretty crap, and they have been. Thankfully, we have seen some miracle, some light shining through, and I take the starting of the rains in the Amazon to be one such miracle. Now, as you can tell, I'm not 100% yet back to my health yet, so I do sound a little bit grouchy, but hopefully you will be able to receive the information nevertheless. So let us just first talk about what are the kinds of alignments that are going to be still present in the skies between now till September the 31st. August the 31st. So the thing that still remains, this is a week, it's not going to change things dramatically or drastically in terms of the longer term aspects. But the major shift or the major energy that's happening right now is the start of Virgo season, where we've got the Sun, Venus, Mars already in Virgo. We're waiting on Juno and Mercury to join the gang, and they will by the end of August. But what happens here with the start of Virgo season, we see that these energies are asking us to be a lot more practical, a lot more grounded, a lot more earthy, a lot more detail oriented, a lot more task focused in what we want to do. And we do need to take care of not just our health, but the health of whatever relationships or parts of service that we are involved with, the health of our relationship with the planet. These are the kinds of questions that need to be coming to the fore. And the way Virgo interacts with each one of your charts really depends on what your chart is doing, which house does Virgo occupy in your chart, and so on and so forth. So what I want to say with Virgo season is, and I will get back to this when you get the review at the start of September, is that basically this is a time to realize that people have already chosen where they want to be. It's not to say that people cannot change. It is to say that everyone already kind of knows where they sit on whatever spiritual, political, or existential spectrum. And it's like whatever we're doing with spirit is going to be starting from and flowing through naturally from whatever points on the spectrum that we've chosen to occupy. Now, we cannot, honestly, there is no more real space or room for us to believe that our words are necessarily going to persuade others who are already ideologically committed to one path or another. So rather than trying to win the battle in terms of rhetoric and debate and dialogue and discourse, this month, at the very least, focus on practical acts. When we change the material context of a situation, we change the terms of debate. We change the terms of what we see is possible. So even if it's a large scale problem or a small scale problem in your life, this month, what's really going to help is your actions. What are you doing to fix the situation? So let's take a very practical example. Let's say you're in a relationship and your partner is someone who maybe has a less than ideal relationship with food or a substance or whatever, and you've talked and talked and talked and they haven't changed anything, and for whatever reason you've decided you're going to be with this person. What do you do in that situation when words are not working? And, asking God to change another human being for your own sake, unless it's in their own free will and interest to do so, that raises its own issues as well. But what you can do is you can actually start doing stuff like cooking together, eating together, taking more time to be more conscious about your food, taking more time to incorporate healthy habits like walking, like running, jogging, swimming, or spending time in nature, and doing these things together to create a shift at the level of matter. And then when you have that same conversation later down the line, the response you get or the level of engagement and energy you get with the situation may be different. There are no guarantees in life here. It's just your best foot forward and hoping that whoever you're working with is also doing the same and from a place of integrity, from a place of heart. But there's not much more you can do about it. So really, even if you're looking in terms of the big problems, I mean, let's take the Amazon for example. Yes, our manifestation prayers have certainly resulted in something, but look at what the president of Bolivia did. Basically, got the world's largest, I forget what's the name of it, but a plane that could actually carry water and spray it all over the affected area. It takes a practical act to actually help make change in a practical earthly situation. And you're going to be seeing a lot more opportunities for this, especially through September. But this is the starting point. Now, even in this starting point, this last week of August, we're going to be seeing several different planets aspecting Uranus. So whilst I typically wouldn't ask you to expect a windfall or a sudden, Deus ex machina situation to save the day, I would say that that is possible at this time, but it's not something that you can expect or count on or rely on. Because Uranus is the planet of surprise. It is the planet that deals absolutely with the unexpected. Sometimes it's windfall in your favor, sometimes it's a spanner thrown in the works and you have no idea where, why, how this came from. With Uranus and Taurus, we certainly do see a lot more focus on the earth. I would say on indigenous people and their rights over to the earth as well. We see a focus on the financial system. We see a focus on what we think is abundance and wealth. And we also see the importance of putting back into that collective pot. So with Uranus trining these different planets in Virgo, especially in this last week of August, we're going to be seeing this theme come over and over again. We're going to be seeing gateways through which our material acts of being, belonging, service, healing, and so on and so forth, they're going to be seeing these material acts, small as they may seem, become the vessel for larger collective energies to work through. And that can really go either way. There's no real, one size fits all definition to that. So that's really the big theme, the big remaining energy that we see moving through this last week of August. Another theme that we see that that does deserve saying, we see this little cluster of planetary bodies. We see them making a square aspect to Ceres, the mother nurturer in early Sagittarius. It does mean that whatever acts of service we do need to go back to, I wouldn't say a goal, but they do need to work on helping us find a path of thought and philosophy and ideation that allows us to expand through these little acts. So, for example, planting a tree in your garden isn't just planting a tree in your garden. It is helping you connect more so to that archetypical feminine energy of the planet. It is helping you in your own little way contribute to just making sure there's a little bit more oxygen in your environment. These little acts lead to bigger things. They lead to a bigger picture. We also do see this little cluster in Virgo, an early Virgo, inconjuncting Chiron at 5 degrees Aries. So this is the kind of energy which also asks us to be mindful of the fact that our small scale engagements, our small scale material changes in routine or habit or focusing on health, focusing on service, these are the things that can actually help us make significant breakthroughs in the way we think about ourselves, our identities, literally what's above the neck. Have any health issues that may be related to, what we see on our face, our head, our ears, eyes, brains, whatever it is, this is where really healing interventional strategies of any kind can be quite beneficial. Now, on the other hand, if we are not heeding that inner call towards greater service and alignment, that same Chiron in Aries can bring up a lot of issues. It can, trigger us in very uncomfortable ways to make us go, hello, this is time for you to be doing something. Where do you stand on this planet? What are you doing on this planet? What is your relationship to all of the above? So these are the kinds of questions that are getting asked, and this is a good thing. But really, this is the energy that's going to be with us in this last week of August, which by no means is a bad thing. These are just the kinds of energies that we need to think about a little more as we, get into all of it. So for the remainder of this video, I just want to focus on some of the key highlights because we've already talked about the energy and, it's going to be within this larger field of what it means to serve and the challenges and blessings that come to service. So I'm just going to read off some of the dates so you can bear in mind when these things really come to pass. So on the 23rd of August, with respect to what we've spoken about, we saw the sun entering Virgo. That's a big deal. That means Virgo season has officially started. On the 24th of August, Juno entered Virgo, which means that all of this work of service, we need to look at it through the lens of the soul contracts we play out with other people. Sometimes they're pleasurable, sometimes they're painful. We get to choose how we navigate and negotiate those contracts. And if we have soulmates with whom we can perform acts of service together, all the better, all more power to you. So on the same day, 24th of August, we saw, or rather we're about to see, Venus conjuncting Mars. That's at 4 degrees Virgo. So this is a good day to really marry our desires of service, our understanding of service and healing and maintenance in relationships, in our businesses, with the health of our body and the actions that we take. It's a time to really look at that theme. It's probably what's given me the energy to do this video, despite the fact that I'm not fully healed yet. It'll come. I'm not worried. So then on the 25th of August, continuing the same theme, we see Venus squared Ceres. On the same day, Venus inconjuncts Chiron. We see Mars squared Ceres, and on the next day, the 26th of August, Mars inconjuncts Chiron. We've talked about what Chiron and Ceres are teaching the early Virgo cluster. How do we expand onto a path of service that truly honors the feminine without playing into old parent-child dynamics of the past, without playing into authoritarian dynamics of the past, and how our acts of healing and service help us expand our sense of self-identity, and how they can help us just develop a better relationship to healing. This is also a really good time to focus on the health of the gut and to understand how gut health affects your mental health. That's a big, big, big deal. So those are the key things that are happening on the 25th. And on the 26th, after, of course, Mars inconjuncts Chiron, we see that Mercury trines Ceres. I'm pointing this one out because that can mean that words, and people are going to be very triggered by words. Words themselves are going to create different degrees and layers of volatility. While it's all good to scream about I am, if you do so in a way that damages others, what difference is this really making? Let your expressions of selfhood and autonomy empower. Other people may not see you the way you're presenting yourself. They may see you through their perceptions, but really the only thing you can take responsibility for is what you do with the time that you have and the opportunity that you've been given. So that's Mercury trined Eris. On the same day, we see Venus trined Uranus. This is another big deal. This is where we could see those potential windfalls or potential spanners thrown into the works. Keep going at your acts of service and know that these can be supported by cosmological forces if they are in alignment with the greater evolutionary trajectory of our times. So this is stuff that is just happening, and you just need to keep your eye on the ball. That's all anyone is asking you to do. On the 27th of August, we see Chiron at 4 Aries, trine Ceres at 4 Sagittarius. The Virgo energy helps us bridge together Chiron and Ceres in a different way. So ultimately, the acts of service and healing that we do help us develop a better relationship with ourselves, with our parents, with our authority figures. And from a more healed sense of self and space of self, we can then choose paths of expansion that are collectively beneficial for others as well. On the same day, we see Mercury trined Ixion. Now, this one can get a little tricky. Mercury is trining Ixion and the galactic center. Ixion is, of course, a tyrant. The galactic center is, of course, our relationship with source energy and source truth. So our words, yet again, become extremely important. On the same day, 27th of August, we see Jupiter inconjunct the mean node. This is where people can get triggered by the paths of truth that they are taking and whether or not it threatens their sense of belonging. Find your home the way you understand home. Find what it is that deeply nourishes your sense of groundedness in the world and allow your path to emerge from that sense. This is something that we talked about in June and July quite a bit. So all of this is still going on. On the 28th, we see basically, again, and I'm cutting out a lot of factors that are, replaying the same things we talked about in August. Mars, yet again, Mars in 6 degrees Virgo trines Uranus. So it continues the energy that we've been seeing with Venus trine Uranus and so on. Keep focused on acts of service. They will lead to transformations that you yourself may not fully be aware of. On the same day, the Sun at 4 degrees Virgo inconjuncts Chiron. Remember, the healing of the gut, the healing of your daily routine can lead to much larger transformations in your general sense of health and wellness. On the same day, the Sun at 5 degrees Virgo squares Ceres. Same issue again and again and again, no differences there. On the 29th, the most important things that are happening are the fact that Mercury enters Virgo. Means Mercury has joined the Virgo cluster. We can focus our conscious cognitive parts and expressions onto this question of service. That's great. On the same day, we see Venus opposite Nessus, the abuser's asteroid, Venus at 9 Virgo, Nessus at 9 Pisces. Now, there are other elements and bodies that are aspecting Venus in very, very threatening ways, but I'm focusing more on the positives here because really the rest of August has been so difficult in so many ways. But with the Venus-Nessus opposition, we just need to be more aware of the fact that whether at a spiritual level or at a karmic level, there's lots of things weighing us down. And what we choose to do in terms of changing our daily habit patterns, no matter how small, can really be a big challenge to those old karmic constructs. The moment you choose to make or walk your path differently, you already begin to shift old dynamics of predation, abuse, and aggression. And this is certainly a theme throughout this last week of August. Now I would say that's probably the most important thing that's happening on the 29th. Mercury enters Virgo, so joining Virgo season, and Venus opposes Nessus. Those are big deals. On the 30th of August, we see the Sun trine Uranus, Sun at 6 Virgo, Uranus at 6 Taurus. You've heard about what this means. Venus at 10 degrees Virgo trines Hylonomy. I call her the poster girl of codependency. This is a good time to look at how your daily habits can slowly shift you away from more codependent thought forms and patterns. So if you see yourself falling into a situation where you feel that you cannot exist without a relationship, pull back and start doing something for you and make that a regular practice. This is fairly important because the new moon with the Sun at 6 Virgo conjunct the moon at 6 Virgo will be happening on the same day. And of course, the Sun and the moon will be trining Uranus. So the new moon in Virgo trines Uranus, and that is a big game changer. So set those seeds of intentions of change and allow them to manifest with the help of the universe. You don't need to do it alone. That's a big deal. On the same day, we see Mercury at 3 Virgo conjunct Juno at 3 Virgo. This means that yet again, we look at the energy of our soul contracts that we make with others and try to more consciously identify what those contracts are. Are they parts of service that empower us all, or are they parts of service that demand sacrificing your autonomy? In which case, ask yourself, is that a contract that you really want to be a part of? On the 31st of August, basically we see, I would say the most important thing that's going on here is the fact that Mercury is inconjuncting Chiron. So the Mercury Chiron inconjunct is one which again plays on the same themes as before. We've already seen Venus do it, Mars do it, the Sun do it, and Mercury is doing it now. And then it's going to be going on to aspect Ceres and so on and so forth. So it's a pattern that we've already established. Keep your journal handy. Look at what comes up. That's the stuff that we need to be focused on right now. So, brief overview gives you some key dates for you to look forward to. This is a big new moon. Use it wisely. Remember that small seeds can lead to giant transformation. That's the key mantra for this last week of August. Heed it well. Take care. Many blessings. Lots of love. Ciao, ciao for now. Bye-bye.